everyone, Janie here, and today I am going to show you how to do a really super easy DIY shaker pocket for your shaker cards or tags, and I think you are absolutely going to love this. So let's head on over and get started. So, to show you how to make a shaker pocket, I'm actually going to be making a shaker card, and I'm going to be using this Kokorosa cutting die with Paris Buildings, and yes, that is what it's called. And I'm also using this beautiful background that I made using a technique that I shared in a video a while back called Magical Embossing Powder Techniques. And I'll put a link to that right here on the screen and also at the end of this video. I'm also going to be using gold glitter paper from Close to My Heart, and for the pocket you can use acetate or Duralar, which is an acetate alternative, or something like these clear PVC sheets, whatever you normally use for your shaker cards, and of course some sort of shaker bits and some double-sided tape. To get started, I'm going to use that Kokorosa metal die with Paris Buildings along with the gold glitter paper from Close to My Heart, and I cannot believe how beautifully that cut. Next, I cut a piece of that gold glitter paper to 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches to fit the top of the card. And I cut the center out of it, as you've all seen me do quite often, so I don't waste anything. And as you can see, no one will ever know once the card topper is put on. So the background piece for the card topper is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and so to make the shaker pocket, I'll need to cut my acetate 1 inch bigger than that on each side. So I've cut it to 5 inches by 6 1/4 inches, and as you can see, that will leave a 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, now it's time to grab the scoring board because I'm going to be scoring the acetate at a 1/2 inch on each side. And no matter what size shaker pocket you make, it will still need to be scored at a 1/2 inch on each side. And once you're done scoring, you'll see that there's a little square at each corner, and I'm going to cut the squares out of those corners because we don't need those. Just follow the score lines and you'll get it perfect. Next, I'm going to be using double-sided tape, and you can use 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. And I'm going to be using 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be putting it along each side. And to make it easier to show you, I should have folded on the score lines first so that you can see that the tape goes on the inside of each flap and not the outside. Of course, I realized that after I got started, so as I go along, I'm folding the sides in so that you can see that the tape is on the inside and not the outside. Another thing I should point out is that when putting on the tape, don't get it too close to that score line. In fact, it might be better to use 1/4 inch tape instead and get it closer to the outside edge, and you'll see why later in the video. So here I'm just mitering the corners a little bit, and that's going to make things fit together easier when we fold those sides in. If you've never mitered corners before, all you're doing is just cutting at an angle on each corner like you see me doing here. Okay, now let's get started putting all of this together. Now we actually have the pocket made, and the tape is on the inside, not on the outside. We've got the corners mitered, and I like to use a fabric softener sheet on the inside just to help protect against that static cling we often get in shaker cards. So I'm just wiping that down inside like that, and this is ready to go. So I'm going to be using this piece that I already have made. But I wanted to point out that you can use a pre-made background or just a plain piece of cardstock, colored or white or whatever you want to use, or whatever you normally would use for the back part of your shaker card. So for me, it's going to be this. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting it in face down. See how it fits perfectly in there, okay? Because I made it the size to fit perfectly in there, which was just 1 inch longer and 1 inch wider. So now I am going to remove the release tape or protective layer or whatever you'd like to call it. And I'm going to put the sides down, but I'm only going to do 3 sides. I'm going to leave one side open because that is where the shaker pieces are going to go. Now, I can honestly tell you that I have not tried this technique with glitter. I've done it, you know, with shaker pieces, with sequins, but best I can tell, the glitter would also stay in here. So get that on there. And right here, looks like I went over a tiny bit. Not over, but I mean, I didn't miter the corner good enough. So kind of keep an eye on that because you do want it mitered really good. So now I have a pouch. Perfect, right? I put the shaker pieces in there. I don't have to worry about getting them lined up on where I'm putting them or them getting scattered or anything. I'm just going to put them right inside this pouch. But before I do, because I don't want all that bumpy stuff in there, I am going to attach, where did it go? I'm going to attach my front piece because I'm going to be putting this on the front. And the edges stick out a little bit further because this is made for 5.5 inch card. And I'm making this front piece 5 1/4. So once I do it, I'm going to decide whether I'm going to wrap them around or just leave them out to match the ends of the card. So that decision will come here momentarily. I was going to show you that I cut one out in black as well because at first I was thinking, oh, look at that, the black, you know, skyline, like a shadow. And I actually kind of like that. Okay, now I'm getting torn because I cut them both and I really thought I wanted to go with the gold because, hold on a second here, because it's not put together yet, but it's going to have, you know, the gold background. Yep, I think I'm going to stick with the gold. Decisions, you know how that goes, right? So, to make sure that this has full coverage, you could either use, you know, if you have a glue that doesn't ooze out, a liquid glue that doesn't ooze out, you can do that. If you, whatever technique you use, if you've watched my videos enough, you know that I really like spray adhesive because I really feel like it holds really good and it doesn't ooze out. And I can't do that on camera, so I'm going to go put this on and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that on there, and what I did was I used my Beacon 3-in-1 and I put that all the way across the bottom and in some of the wider areas to give me some wiggle room. And once I got the Beacon glue on there, then I sprayed it with my 3M Super 77, my favorite spray adhesive, and that way I have full coverage because I can't put glue around all these little window areas and stuff like that. It would just ooze out and that wouldn't be very pretty. So that is ready to be filled up with shaker bits. But before I forget, and while I have my beacon here, I'm going to glue this on the card as well. So this is my card base. And this is that layer that I cut earlier. So I'm just going to put some glue along here. And anyway, so far as you can see, this is really an easy thing to do. Much easier to make a shaker card this way than using double-sided tape and, you know, trying to get everything lined up and trying to keep sequins from going everywhere, or glitter for that matter. So I'm going to get this on, then I'm going to put my shaker pieces in there, and we're going to get this thing all put together. Okay, I've got my little shaker bits here, little sequins, and in colors that will match. And so I'm just going to open these up. And actually, I should go find me some that are more gold. I may add a little bit of gold, because this has kind of gold and copper and something in it, but I'm going to put some of this in. If you've ever watched my videos, you know that I often have the tendency to put in too many shaker pieces. I've done that a couple of times. Of course, there's also been times where I feel like I haven't put in enough. Okay. So, see, the nice thing is the way that these shakers are made, so I'm not closing it because the tape is still on there, but I can move it around and get an idea of how much is in there. And I've got some stuck down there on that one edge, but because this is open, I can go get something and move those. So this is kind of nice to be able to check that out. So I'm going to go get me some gold sequins, and I'm going to get me my little thingy to reach down in there and move those. Okay, before I go any further, do you remember when I said you could use a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch tape? Well, a 1/4 inch is probably better. I used a 1/2 inch, and what happened is I got it too close to the fold, and so the sequins were sticking to that. And you know, hopefully over time that changes a little bit, you know, that it'll wear off. But you know, sometimes it's better to use less than more, and then you can just put it closer to this outside edge and not too close to the fold. Okay, so I've got me some gold sequins here, and I'm going to pour a few of those in. Hopefully, not too much. Okay, let me get an idea here of how this is looking. And you know what? I think I have the right amount in there because I really don't want to go crazy. Now, if you ever get it stuck down there while you're doing this, I tell you, I love having these pockets. You can always use something like this and go along that edge. Okay? And if you ever wanted to, you could dump out all the sequins and, you know, put something on here, go down there and rub it along the edge to remove the adhesive. So these pockets, there are so many benefits. I can't even begin to tell you all of the benefits. All right, so I've got my sequins in there, and I still have a couple stuck up there. There they go. Okay, so now that they're in there, I am going to remove this. And actually, before I close it, because knowing that I'm too close to the edge, I'm going to kind of go along the edge here a little bit. And, you know, like, don't hit the whole tape, but just kind of right along that edge where it's going to be attaching. Yeah, I do have it too close to that edge. But at least, you know, this way you're seeing what to do if you ever do that. All right, I am now going to fold that over, and my little shaker pouch is done. There you go. Is that cool or what? And now all I have to do is attach it to the card base. So let me clean this up here. And look, I do not have sequins everywhere. I haven't been chasing them down. Cool, right? Okay, making sure that your card is opening the right direction because you don't want to put it on upside down. We are going to put it on there. And remember, I told you that these stuck out the ends, and I was going to see about bending them over or just leaving them straight. And I think I'm just going to leave them straight, so they should be just fine. I'm going to use my beacon. You can use whatever glue you have. This just happens to be my preference for many reasons. One, because it gives me wiggle room. Unlike any other wet glue I have used, because I have used others like white glues and things like that, but it gives wiggle room, yet at the same time it has a really quick tack, which means it just grabs hold right away, and I can even just move on from what I'm doing. By the way, I'm putting a lot on here just because, not because I have to. I just don't want it to come off, and this stuff never comes off. By the way, I've had things that I've made years ago, and they're still attached, but I'm a worrywart. You know, I just want to make sure that it's attaching everywhere. Oh, by the way, notice this? Your card will fold flat to go in an envelope, okay? So unlike when you have double-sided foam tape and 2 layers of it, and your card is thicker, this card is not. So I'm just making sure that it's all adhered. And there we go. Is that beautiful or what? So I'm quite happy with it. And if I wanted to move it a tiny bit, I could, but I should have done it earlier. But actually it's in my opinion, is perfect. And it's a perfect little shaker. So now I can add some embellishments to the outside. I can put a sentiment. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, but whatever I decide, whether it's leaving it the way it is or adding things to it, I'll be posting pictures of it right here as the video is ending. Okay, I am back. I was so excited about how this card turned out after I decorated it that I had to share it with you live, not just in pictures. So these flowers right here are from Prima Marketing, and I have had them for years, and they're just a bottle full and you just layer them. And what I love is that they're dimensional, but yet they layer flat. So, I mean, not like completely flat, but flat enough to go in an envelope. And then I wanted to add some gold centers to them just to bring this all together because those colors match the background. And so I wanted gold, and I happen to have these bling gems in gold from Close to My Heart. I don't even know if they sell them anymore. I've had these for a long time as well. And it's just amazing that I had stuff in my stash that was perfect for decorating this. And then I took another piece of the gold glitter paper from Close to My Heart and a stamp that I have that says Bonjour. And I stamped and heat embossed that on the gold glitter paper. And oh my gosh, I am so in love with this card. I will probably not want to give it away. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's it. Here's some pictures. In my opinion, this shaker pocket has revolutionized the shaker card world, and I absolutely love it. Below in the description box, you will find some Kokorosa links as well as a 25% off discount code. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and here on the screen are some other videos that might interest you, and all you have to do is click on them. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.